Yes, hello, this is Michael Johnson. As I'm walking on my way to Starbucks to sit down and do some more work, I'm working on white papers, both regarding our products. So we have multiple variations of our product, so I'm working on white papers and I need to get those done, as well as update our platform to kind of build in updated content management capability. So that's what I'm doing. But as I'm walking, I just want to had some thoughts about what I posted before about identity politics, and specifically around Justice Democrats and the divide between people that are focused on identity politics and the more progressive wing that's about policy. So I mentioned that there is a candidate running in Florida. I believe it's in the 18th district of Florida. It is in the primary, and her name is Pam Keith. And she recently became a Justice Democrat. She previously was endorsed by the Collective PAC. So she's endorsed by both groups. Prior to her becoming a Justice Democrat, she interviewed on Joy Reid's show at least once and probably a couple times, gotten some press. And then once she became a Justice Democrat, she was interviewed on Rebel Headquarters on the Young Turks. And right now, essentially the Democratic establishment is not supporting her at all. In fact, they're actively supporting her opponent. But Pam Keith, by becoming a Justice Democrat, has said, okay, I'm not going to take corporate PAC money. That's one of the criteria of being a Justice Democrat, is that you can't take corporate PAC money. So now she's basically doing the small donor route. And as we've established, or as been established in numerous news outlets, news articles and reports and things like that, the DCCC does not like candidates that are just saying we're going to go the small donor route. It's always, you have to have a large Rolodex where you can get at least $250,000 from the names on your phone and things like that. But why I bring up Pam Keith is this. She is actually pretty well liked, I would say, among, people of color that are looking at, these are the new black women leaders that are going to lead our country from the abyss of Donald Trump and all that. And I don't know if it's not really popular knowledge that she's a Justice Democrat yet. But just kind of thinking back to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sorry for the noise in the background. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So when she won, it seemed like, she would be able to bridge the gap between, we need strong minorities and women to take leadership power, and, people that are focused on policy, the Bernie wing of the party. That her luster is kind of declined as a bit because of her association with Justice Democrats and Bernie Sanders, at least on Twitter. I don't know if the people that are disliking her because she went to Kansas to campaign with Bernie are just confined to Twitter, or for it's larger than just a few angry Twitter people raising their fists and complaining. But in any event, as far as people that are on the firmly Clinton wing, never Bernie, and the Bernie wing, Alexandria hasn't necessarily bought those people into the progressive political revolution fold. But here comes Pam Keith. So for what I know about Pam Keith, I don't believe that, I don't know who she supported in 2016. She had some words of praise for Bernie Sanders, who I looked on her Twitter feed, and also she had some words of criticism. So I have no idea where she stands on the on that spectrum, 2016. But she did decide to become a Justice Democrat. She did decide, okay, she's going to give up corporate PAC money. So, and she's really at war right now with the Democratic establishment, who's trying to shut down her campaign. So what that does mean is, oh, that she's a very strong, respected black woman. She's a military veteran, actually. And so if there's really anyone that's going to, I guess, bridge the gap between the progressive wing and the identity politics wing of the Democratic Party, it would be Pam Keith. So she would be able to essentially, okay, if it's time to support a Justice Democrat that happens to be white over a corporate candidate that happens to be a black woman, and if Pam Keith comes out and says, oh yeah, we should support the Justice Democrat, I think people will listen to her more than they would necessarily listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just because of her background. Like Pam Keith, from what I know, what I can tell for her, is not, okay, she's not part of that, okay, oh, I love Bernie Sanders crowd, but she actually understands the policy implications and the importance of having candidates that are free from money and politics influence, and the problems that are going on with the GCCC in essentially how they're sourcing candidates, just essentially picking the most corporate candidate that they can find, whether they're black, white, Latino, whatever. They're looking for people that can just, okay, here's my phone, and I can raise $250,000 off of it. So we'll see. Pam still has to win her primary. It's, I believe, the last week of August or towards the end of August. So she still has to win her primary to see if she can pretty much get the same luster that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does. We'll also see how big of a star with Justice Democrat she comes after she wins her primary. Unlike Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Pam Keith will have a pretty difficult general election. She's running against a Republican incumbent, so her winning the primary doesn't necessarily guarantee that she'll be elected to Congress. It will still be a major fight to November for her to win that seat. But I'm keeping an eye on her and just hoping that she pulls it through in the primary, hoping she pulls it through in the general, and that she can be become elevated to one of the main faces of Justice Democrats, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, and that can hopefully really stem the tide of the civil war in the Democratic Party. And when I talk about civil war, I'm not talking about civil war with the establishment, the politicians. Like we do need to fight back against them. I'm talking about among the voting base, the warring factions in the voting base. Like really, we don't need a large, bitter fight between those groups of voters. So we'll see. I'll keep posted on what's going on with Pam Keith and her campaign and Justice Democrats, and we'll see what happens.